We have here a double leg takedown, but the double leg takedown in and of itself, leading up to this submission attempt, interestingly enough, it's not necessarily like a high school or collegiate wrestling style double leg that you see most commonly. It's more like what judoka would call a rotegari, meaning like two-handed reap. So um, the way that this has a distinction in the judo philosophy is basically like when someone's coming into you, you can step backwards and receive their energy and scoop your hands at their knees. So when people try to say that that judo takedown is interchangeable with the double leg takedown, it really isn't. It's distinct. And that's the kind of double leg takedown that Thesz does here, leading up to this knee twisting submission. So let's talk about this knee twisting submission real quick. Once he's in his opponent's guard, he steps one knee through. So he has like one of Buddy Rogers' legs in between his own legs, but he bent. Thesz bends at the inside knee to rotate so that he can step outside of it. And this step through and step outside is a pretty common thing in terms of making leg attacks in these old pro wrestling and catch wrestling environments, right? So we might see something like this in the modern day be more of a setup for a heel hook. But in this case, Thesz actually just maintains his grip on the shoelaces and bends the leg backwards in a direction that he doesn't necessarily want it, that his opponent doesn't want it bent. This can be a knee breaker, and it can be pretty vicious. I've done this submission when people have tried taking my back while doing leg lock attempts. So that's one of the common pitfalls of some of these leg locks, like going for knee bars or whatever else. If your body spacing isn't correct, then your opponent can actually do a back attempt. Like they can do a choke attempt, a back take attempt. And here, Buddy Rogers tries a neck crank, like a cross-face neck crank, for the same reason. And this is a scripted wrestling match, so it's kind of like not surprising that he doesn't succeed in doing it, whereas a real player might succeed in that defense. But this leg crank, in and of itself, absolutely works. I've done it in lots of roles. I typically try to do it with higher belts because I don't want to tear up an inexperienced player's knee. But yes, it 100% works. It served me very well when people have tried to do back take attempts. And one of the reasons why it doesn't result in a back take attempt is just the fact that Thesz's outside leg is so far away that it's nearly impossible for his base to be destabilized enough for a full-on back take attempt. If anything, Buddy Rogers would end up getting a truck position from here before he got a back take, and that truck position could lead to a back take. But the dilemma he has is if he doesn't solve the upper body problem appropriately, he's going to get his knee blown out. So that's one of the things that makes this attack work. And even if it doesn't work with this specific leg crank in mind, this old school catch wrestling leg crank, it lends itself very easily to heel hooks and other more modern submissions. Or I should say, submissions that still flourish popularly in modern adversarial, unscripted grappling matches.